And so apparently fish and worms are the secret ingredient for a great garden. Master Gardener Steve Kruse is here. Brand new product out, and it's not just a fancy name.
It is not just a fancy name, it's a very effective product, yes sir.
Let's talk about fish and worms, because one, it's local.
Yes, there's a company in Goshen, they raise tilapia in their tanks in there, and this is a byproduct of that, and obviously they have a worm farm where they get the worm castings to use that.
Now, he says worm castings, but really this is a big old bucket of worm poop.
That's pretty much what it is, yes sir.
So how does this work? I mean, what do you do with this stuff? I mean, and why is it so good for your garden?
Well, worm castings, to have a healthy soil, you need a lot of worms. And their excrement, whatever you want to call it, is beneficial for the soil. It increases the natural microbial activity. You know, a good healthy soil has a lot of microbes in there, a lot of little Pac-Men, so to speak, that are breaking down all the decaying organic matter, the leaves, the grass clippings and stuff. And this will accentuate that. So when you go to plant your flowers or your vegetables, whatever, you just take a little scoop of this. When you dig the hole to plant your tomato plant, let's say, you mix some of that with the soil, plant your tomato plant in there. There's natural fertilizer in there, all those organic microorganisms in there, and they just make that plant just hit the ground running, so to speak.
So when you're putting this in, do you need to put anything else? Because sometimes people put in bone meal or phosphorus or anything else. Is this pretty much a one-step thing to do?
If I was to do this, this is all I would use, you know, to get the plant started. Now, you might want to fertilize over the top later, but you wouldn't need the bone meal or the blood meal, all that kind of stuff along with this, because this is going to really take place of that.
What about, now you can mix this with any soil, so do you still have a soil test done before you start planting, or can it doesn't matter,
okay,
just dig it out and chuck this in?
All right, very good point. When you're planting a new garden, or if your garden's been struggling, a soil test is always the thing to do. Soil test tells you the pH of the soil, meaning whether it's alkaline or acidic. We want our soils to be slightly acidic, so that'll tell you if you need lime or not, and it'll also tell you the natural occurring fertility levels. So if you need to add more fertilizer, the soil test will tell you that. But this is just going to help your plants get, you know, you buy your plants in the garden center in that neat little box, and they've had a cozy home there for a long time, and you put them in the garden, especially now as cool as it's been, as wet as it is. This is going to help them get over any shock that when you take them out of that pot and put them in the ground. And then, as you alluded to, the fertilizer, this is going to help them get started, and then this fish and worms liquid fertilizer, you dilute this with water and give them a drink with that about once every 2-3 weeks, and that'll make a big difference in the plant. It's kind of like, everybody knows Miracle-Gro fertilizer, the granules, that kind of stuff. This is more of a subtle type fertilizer. It's not as harsh on the plants. They'll readily accept this a lot easier than they will the Miracle-Gros or any other fertilizers that we might have used. Now,
this is a 12-pound bucket, and it's $27. How far will this take you?
Oh, you're going to use a couple tablespoons for each plant, so that'll go a long, long ways. Most average gardeners would not use this bucket at planting time. You know, you can also just add it into your soil. After you get everything planted, you can add it in the soil. That'll build up new life to the whole soil. Most of our gardens are kind of tired. We've been farming them and gardening them and putting flowers in there, taking a lot of nutrients out, taking a lot of the organic matter out, and this is going to help
breathe some life back in.
Right.
And if you're having some issues with breathing life into your garden, or maybe